Hi, everybody. It's story time. Chapter 6 of the Narcissistic Borderline Relationship series. So, I want to spend less time on the comments. I'm going to read a couple, tell you a couple red flags that I think of, and then get right into the story. So, I think this is Martin. Says, Jake seems to pick up. She's not genuine. Jake is Mark's friend that came over. There's something off with her, is what he told Mark. Mark, being upset is cognitive dissonance. It's like someone you trust gives you information contrary to your belief. It's like your brain has a bitter or a bit in a lemon. People can get aggressive. That's right. Yeah, huh? You feel so great about somebody. She's really the one, right? And then your best friend comes over and goes, "Oh no, there's something wrong with her." And that cognitive dissonance makes you choose one. Choose the one probably that's not less comfortable, the one that's more comfortable. A girlfriend. Ben from Manteca says, what do I think? I think it needs to be more volatile or more accurately reflect reality. So, Ben, you think my story doesn't reflect reality? How many stories do you know of? Have you read a book about a story? Do you know someone else that told you their whole story? Did you read some somewhere on Reddit, Quora? I know you probably had your own, and it sounds like that's what you're going by. Because we all have different experiences. Even though these people seem to be like cutouts and the relationships are so similar, they're not. They're absolutely not. And I've been doing this 10 years, Ben, and in 10 years I've heard hundreds of stories. The story I'm telling you, I said this in the beginning, and I promise, this is a borderline that's considered higher spectrum, narcissistic, but this is so typical. I'm really nailing the real typical points, timelines, everything, progression, big time. Understand that this is 3-4 months tops into this relationship. And most toxic people, abusive people, most of these things, these behaviors surface about 6 months and can take much longer. So this is very typical, Ben. Probably not your experience, but if I wrote down your experience, if I told your experience, everyone would say, well, that's not mine, that's not mine. I have 100 people saying that's not mine. What are you doing? That's not right. Make sense? But thanks, Ben. Cowboy No Horse from South Florida who loves David Morris coaching. And I mean it when I say David Morris coaching loves South Florida. It says, seems like Lisa is desperate for financial support and Mark is desperate for attention. That's for sure. And Gordy says, oh boy, Lisa's starting to get Mark and meshed with her. Met his parents very early and then created a situation where he could rescue her from her mother by moving in. Jake's joking comment was met with contempt for Mark by Lisa. She began to try to isolate him from his friend by trying to drive a wedge between him and Jake. You see that? That's perfect. Isolating. It happens all kinds of different ways, and it could be unconscious, definitely, even by Lisa. This is just Lisa's normal, people with borderline fall into and make up the majority of that high conflict personality type. They get along with people right away sometimes. There's conflict and conflict of interest. And someone with Lisa's disorder is very, very territorial and ownership and this is mine, and things are threatening, could be very threatening to Lisa. And I think that's all I got. Oh, one more. Rory from my house says, I'm seeing manipulation and controlling from both of them, but can't say who is doing the most. Definitely Lisa. Definitely Lisa. It's like codependency, it's both of them. For sure. I would say Mark's is more unconscious and innocent. More idealizing. Yeah. Okay, so here's what and basically I seem to write down most of the things you said here. Mark's invite to meet his parents, too fast, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to say that everybody has to go by my opinion or what I believe, but I'm telling you, the faster relationships go, the worse they tend to be. It's the most toxic. The slower they tend to go, the better they end up being. It seems like the better chance they have. From sex to commitment to meeting parents to meeting children, friends, all of this. Moving in. Mark's totally already in the rescuer, hero, the people pleaser, the codependent, and the warning from his friend Jake. Yeah, it's like cognitive dissonance. He had to choose one. He chose the one that was more comfortable. So let's get in the story. Now that Mark and Lisa are living permanently, Lisa brings up that she wants to be able to pay her fair share. She'd like to pay for half the rent for the apartment. The problem is Mark makes good money, and Mark decided to get a very expensive apartment. It's just a one single bedroom apartment because it's downtown, a small, but it's a few grand. Expensive city. Pretty much any major city in this country at this point. It's too expensive. And Lisa, trying to pay half of that, can't. Lisa makes much less money than Mark. But she says, I don't like that feeling, right? I want to pay my fair share. You know, what should we do? And Mark says, well, I really don't mind. I can afford it, honey. It's okay. I'm already living here. I was already paying it myself anyway. The fact that you are in here and you're helping out is huge. A big difference for me. And Lisa's like, well, okay, that's nice. She goes, well, why don't you get rid of the cleaning lady, the maid, Melinda? She only comes once a week, but you pay her hundreds of dollars. And I like to clean. I love it. You see me, I clean. And I know you don't doing your laundry. I love doing your laundry. Actually, I like doing your laundry. And Mark's like, well, that's something we can consider, I guess. And she goes, and she's like, well, it's either that or maybe we should go find another place to live that's cheaper and bigger, not downtown. And he agrees. Jake's like, sure, let's do whatever we want to do so that you feel better. She says, oh, thank you. So that night, Lisa is going out with her friends. Lisa hasn't been out with her friends since she moved in with Mark. They've been in there for, what, a month together, something like that. And she's going to go out with her friends. She's gone out with them a couple of times while they've been dating, but just not since they lived together. Mark met them. Mark calls them her party girls, her party friends. Lisa told Mark on the prior times that she went out with them. Lisa told Mark that the girls and I, we don't text or we don't call our men when we're out. We just don't do it. We aren't allowed to pick up the phone and start talking to our boyfriends when we're out partying. But that night, Lisa texted Mark a couple of times. So Mark felt good about that. A couple days later, Lisa's mom invited them over for lunch one day. And so they went over there during the day for lunch. It was nice. Lisa stepped outside to do something, and Lisa's mom took advantage of that to tell Mark how much she really believes Lisa loves him. Not only that she told me, Mark, but, you know, it just seems different this time with you. You seem like a different guy, a different kind of guy than she typically dates, for sure. But how she's reacting and responding to you seems a lot different. I think she really loves you, Mark. You know, she went on to tell Mark, you know, Lisa had it rough when she was a kid. Her father and I were drug addicts and drinking and volatile, and he would beat me when, you know, right in front of Lisa. She had to watch that. And even when the father left us, I continued doing drugs for a while and horribly neglected her. I feel awful, even though I'm cleaned up now. But it's just nice to see her happy with you. And Mark really liked that. He was like, oh my God, yeah, I believe you, you know. And being how much he loves her, he says he can tell that she loves him. And she brought up Lisa's ex, who Mark has been told about before. Lisa's brought up her ex several times to Mark, that his name's Robert and he's a lawyer and very narcissistic, calls him a narcissist, and said that he beat her. And she told him that. She goes, yeah, Robert is a lawyer and awful. He beat her, and she'd run home to me many times throughout that relationship. So they went home, and the next week, Mark's friend Tom was going to come over and hang out, have a barbecue. And Mark told Lisa, say, my friend Tom's going to come over. You get to meet him. I can't wait. He's a good friend of mine, and I just want you to meet my friends, you know. One with Jake didn't go as well. But so Lisa's like, oh, okay, what does Tom do for a living? And Mark tells him, Tom's an attorney. And Lisa's just instantly triggered. What? An attorney? No way. They're so bad. They're so narcissistic. God, I hate attorneys. Yuck. And Mark's like, yeah, but Tom's one of the good ones. Just a corporate attorney. He's not out for blood money and people's money and all that stuff. He's a good guy. Trust me. Well, he came over and they ended up having a barbecue and stuff, and they actually hit it off. Tom and Lisa had a great time. The three of them sat there and played games all day. They played the huge, humongous Jenga in the backyard. And they played cornhole. You ever played cornhole? It's actually pretty fun. They had a lot of fun, and they ended up going for drinks, for dinner, at a chain restaurant down the street. And Lisa played a hilarious joke on Mark. On Tom. On Mark's friend Tom. Lisa told the restaurant that it's Tom's birthday when it wasn't. And so they all came out and said, oh, happy birthday, and brought a little cupcake with a candle, and you could see Tom's face just beet red, totally embarrassed, but he's smiling, kind of laughing. And Mark found it hilarious. Thought that Lisa had a really good sense of humor. But at the end of the night, Mark was just relieved. Relieved that Tom likes her and Lisa likes Tom. It's working. He says, to himself, he says, I think she's the one. That's it. That's the end of chapter 6. More red flags. The relationship is growing, escalating quickly. Like I said, I would say this is month 3, maybe getting into 4. It seemed like it was only a couple months, right, before they moved in. You know, because she lost her job. And now it's been about a month into it. Fast. Huh? What other red flags do you guys see? I'll read them in chapter 7. Thanks, guys. Love yourself first. Thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're liking the series too. Bye-bye.